Unmanned Quest is for entertainment and inspiration, not professional advice. We're not liable for your actions. Copyrighted material is used under fair use. See description for full disclaimer. Welcome everybody to my first recap of my first training week. I hope this finds everyone really well. I hope you're all healthy and happy and going after your dreams. Alright, so moving on to legs. This is the first leg day of the 52 weeks. We're doing hack squats for our quads. We started on picking a weight where we would fail on 5 reps. Now we picked 55 kilos to start me off, just to kind of get that feel. Slow 4 seconds down, pause at the bottom, and straight back up, explosive up. Started on 55, second set 60, third set 65, fourth set 70, and our last and fifth and final was 75 kilos. Now, why do I keep going up in weight? When it's your first time trying to figure out how heavy you can go to hit failure, you are going to have a bit of a variable guesswork. You can't just pick a weight and assume that that's going to be your failure point. So a lot of the time, you kind of just have to be quite humble and start somewhere and slowly go up. You can do it the other way around and pick a ridiculous weight, but the aim of the game here is periodization, which is slowly getting better over time. So if you pick a weight that's extremely heavy and you're just able to get that 5 reps on the first set, it's highly unlikely you're going to be able to get 4 more working sets at that weight. So we've started off at 55 kilos, set 1, ended on 75 kilos, which is right around a good failure point for me. We're resting roughly 2 minutes in between, and then we went on to 5 sets of 10. Now I picked 45 kilos for my first set for 10 reps, and we actually held that all the way down to our 5th and final set at 45 kilos. The total volume moved, guys, for the first 5 working sets at 5 reps was 1,625 kilos. And 10 rep working sets for 5 equated to 2,250 kilos moved. Now, we're just aiming to increase that total volume in the next session, whether that's through lifting more weight or keeping the weight the same and lifting more reps. Apologies for the only being 2 videos for this first exercise of glute focus RDLs. My phone ran out of battery and I'm not quite confident enough to bring in the big camera and film myself, as it gives me full-on blown anxiety. Even filming with a phone gives me anxiety, so we only managed to film 2 working sets. Essentially what we're trying to do here is come straight down with our knees as we push our pelvis back and push that weight onto the glutes. Now, we're still doing the 4 second down on the decentric and a short pause followed by coming up and essentially straightening our legs back to the neutral position. I just threw in a bit of a squeeze there at the end. I don't think it actually does anything, but it just helped me feel like I was hitting my glutes more than anything else. We did 5 sets of 5 reps, starting at 80 on the first set, and we added another 5 kilos each side, bringing it up to 90 kilos, and we kept that for the remaining 4 sets. We then had a short rest, and then we dropped down to 70 kilos, and we did 5 sets of 10. For the 5 reps, for 5 sets, we had a total volume moved at 2,200 kilos, and for the 5 sets at 10 reps, we moved 3,500 kilos. Here you can see we're doing a laying hammy curl. Apologies for where I positioned the camera. Still slowly learning how to film content in a discreet way where I still captivate what I'm doing and don't necessarily film other people. Nonetheless, we started on 5 reps, trying to pick a weight at failure. We picked 32 kilos respectively, and we actually went up to 39 kilos on our second set, and we held that weight all the way through to the 5th and final set. We moved 940 kilos of volume for those total 5 sets at 5 reps. We had a 2-minute rest in between each set, and then another 2-minute rest in between starting 10 reps, 5 sets. We went down in weight to 32 kilos, and we actually held that for the whole 5 sets, and that brought total volume moved for the 5 sets at 10 reps, 1,600 kilos. Now, as you can see here, we're doing standing calf raises on the machine. We hit 5 sets of 10 at 85 kilos, bringing the total amount of volume moved to 4,250 kilos. And then we actually upped the weight, went down in reps, 5 working sets of 5 reps at 105 kilos, bringing the total volume to 2,625 kilos. If you add those together, it brings the total volume moved for calves to 6,875 kilos, which is pretty wild. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else even remotely thinks like I do, but I'm thinking of the whole year ahead and how much volume in total that I'm going to move, and I think the number is probably going to be so ridiculous. So yeah, I'm very curious what that will be, and maybe we should do a little competition, kind of like how you look at a jar with jelly beans in it and you're trying to figure out how many jelly beans there are in there. Maybe we should try and guess by the end of the year how much volume we've moved in total kilograms, and whoever gets closest, we win a big prize of some description. Maybe as we get more followers and more feedback from people, we can kind of collaborate together and work out what the ultimate prize could be, and I'll start a fund accumulating towards that, and that can be one of the prizes that we draw at the end, whoever gets the closest guess to the total volume that we're going to move all together. Alright guys, as you can see, we're on our second ever hack squat of the 52 weeks. Now I've slapped on here 80 kilos to hit failure at 5 reps, and we've kept that 80 kilos throughout the entire 5 sets of 5. That brought our total volume moved to 2,000 kilos. Now just reflecting back to last time I did this, we started on 55 kilos for 5 reps, worked all the way up to 75 kilos for the final working set. Now the total volume weight moved on the first hack squat ever was 1,625 kilos for the 5 sets of 5. And bringing it forward, we've done 5 sets of 5 80 kilos, which brings the total volume move to 2,000 kilos. So that's 375 kilos added on from last session, total volume moved. That's pretty impressive if we can keep that up. We then moved on to 5 sets of 10, and we've gone down in weight to 60 kilos. Even then, reflecting back, last time I did this was 45 kilos for 10 reps for the 5 total working sets, bringing the total to 2,250 kilos. Now, we've brought down the weight from 80 to 60, and we've actually gone up slightly from last week to 60 kilos, so 15 kilo net difference, and that actually brought total volume move for those 5 sets of 10 to 3,000 kilos, up from 2,250 kilos, which is pretty epic. That's 750 kilo net difference in volume moved in a comparison from the first session to this session. Now, just looking back on this, it is good to mention my ankle mobility is quite important. So when I come all the way down, I've actually placed my feet in the center of the pad, and the reason I've done that is if I brought my feet further down, my ankles or feet actually want to come up. So I've brought my feet kind of into the middle of that pad. It allows me to go all the way down, so my ankle mobility is quite good there, and my feet don't lift up. As far as I know, that's essentially the best way to execute this exercise. Maybe you get some variability when you push up against the pad on your heels and you get more quads. For me personally, keeping my feet flat throughout the whole year is something that I can keep the same, so I can periodize up properly, as opposed to if I start changing how I use my feet on there, it's not flat, it's just going to alter how I can track data and periodize up. So we're going to be keeping I'm going to be keeping my feet flat for the duration of the year. I may, however, change my feet position from neutral to inwards or outwards, just to throw in a bit of variability there if we're not seeing constant muscle gain or improvement over time. Alright guys, we're looking at the second ever glute focused RDL workout of the year. I've actually thrown the order of how I did these to flip. So I was doing 5 sets of 10 at the start and then 5 sets of 5 heavier weight at the end. Now, reflecting back, when I first did these RDLs, I was doing sets of 10 at 70 kilos, and we've gone up 10 kilos on the second working set. I started on 70 kilos, which is the same as the first workout, just to kind of feel how it felt and kind of gauge, how much I could go up by. And I made the decision to go up by 10 kilos, so 5 kilos each side, hitting 5 sets of 10. Total volume moved 3,900 kilos as opposed to 3,500. So we've gone up net volume 400 kilos, not too bad. We then went on to 5 sets of 5 at 100 kilos. That was a 10 kilo difference compared to last week, and we got a total volume move of 2,500 kilos, which is up from 2,200 kilos. So we got 300 kilo improvement for that one. All right, guys, we're looking at the second Lang Hammy Curl workout of the year. Just reflecting back, we started on 39 kilos for 5 reps for 5 sets on our first workout of the year, bringing net total 940 kilos, because on the first set I actually started on 32. Now, this is our second exercise ever on the Lang Hammy Curl, and we're doing 5 sets of 6 at 39 kilos. So we've kept the weight the same, but we've increased another rep per set. So they've brought our net volume to 1,170 kilos, which is up from 940 kilos. We've then moved on to a total of 5 working sets of 11 reps as opposed to 10. Now, reflecting back on the first workout, we had 5 sets of 10 at 32 kilos. Net volume moved 1,600 kilos. Now, we've increased just by 1 rep per working set, so we've gone to a net volume of 1,760 kilos as opposed to 1,600 kilos. Slight improvement there. Really struggling to push that body and get those extra couple of reps. Again, probably because I'm doing long days at work, my energy levels have gone down significantly from when I'm on my week off work. Nonetheless, we try to improve, and this is exactly what I was saying. Sometimes you can periodize up by increasing your weight. Sometimes you can periodize up by keeping the weight the same and just doing an extra rep. Either way, total volume move is more than last week, which is right on track for muscle gain. Alrighty, guys, this is our second workout for the calf raise machine. Now, I am training up at work at a different gym. They don't have a standing calf raise machine, so we're utilizing a Smith machine and a little stepper to essentially replicate a standing calf raise machine. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this felt like significantly harder. I don't know if the weight distribution is completely different. We only went up 5 kilos on this bar, and I found it so much harder. So we just did 5 sets of 10 at 90 kilos. So total net volume we moved 4,500 kilos, as opposed to last time the total volume moved was 4,250 kilos. So 250 kilo increase for those 5 sets of 10. Not bad, but pretty disappointing. I thought I could go way heavier, but I was humbled very quickly. We then did 5 sets of 5 at a 5 kilo increase from last week. So last week did 105 kilos, 5 sets of 5, and now we're doing 5 sets of 5 at 110. Total volume moved 2,750 kilos. So that's a little bit up from last week. Last week we hit 2,625 kilos for those 5 sets of 5. Nonetheless, we did periodize up. Now, imperative, we really want to stretch out this calf when we come down. So as you can see, you come down as far as your ankle mobility kind of lets you. A slight pause, and then come up nice and controlled but fast and contract those calves all the way up. Now, the aim of the game here is not to rush this exercise. You really just want to kind of feel that calf and keep time under tension on this calf raise.